Racism. Underrated.
Sports.
Hey. All right, we're getting better. I'm telling you. I think it was Corey. Corey's fucking it up for everybody else. Hey, welcome to Stuff. Welcome to Stuff About Sports, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Germ. I got Ty, got Bert, got Mike here today. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to continue our NFL preview. We are going to do the AFC East and the NFC South today. We will also rank our top 5 running backs. We're going to start our top 5 series, and we're going to start it off with running backs in the NFL. And then we are going to figure out what that sound was, that feedback. I don't know what that was, if anybody else heard it but me, but I heard it.
I heard it too.
Okay, we're going to keep it moving live. This is what happens when it's live. And then we will talk about Major League Baseball coming back. We got to watch some games. It was strange to watch it without any people, but, you know, it was baseball. We got to watch, you know, the Yankees beat up on the Mets, unfortunately. But, hey, that's how it is. How you guys feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
I know you're feeling great, buddy, because guess what? Got to give before we start up with the warm-up, we got to give a special birthday shout-out to my guys, Bert and Corey's, the twins' birthday party. Cheers. I should have had something to drink. Damn, I messed it up.
Thank you.
There's alcohol in it. Happy birthday. Corey could not be here with us tonight. He had to work, and taking care of your family is priority over the show, I guess. I mean, whatever.
He has cats. The man said he has cats. Like,
Nah, man.
Trying to provide for his future.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm not knock on a guy who's out here trying to do right for his family. So we will talk about all that stuff. But first, as usual, we will start with the warm up. Guys, I will go around the room. I will do Bert because it is your birthday. You will go first, Mike, and then Ty. Guys, Washington Post had us on our the heels of our feet. You know, we were trying to figure out what was happening. There was rumors of a bombshell article dropping that was going to shake the Washington Football Club down to its core. We all saw the article. I'm sure most of us, we skimmed it or at least got the headlines of it. What are your thoughts about the article, and should Dan Snyder be removed as the owner of the team?
I mean, look, I think he should be removed just because I don't like him and haven't liked him for a long time. And this stems back from his, stance on not wanting to change the name and his just blatant disrespect for anybody in his organization. And what has come out just shows what a terrible, organization he has and culture that he has underneath him, that he allowed this to go on for too long. So I think he should be removed. Unfortunately, I don't think this is enough to cause the other owners and the league to come together and say, you have to sell. However, it doesn't mean that franchise isn't in trouble, because we already know minority shareholders are looking to unload. So personal view is, yes, I think he should be ousted, but unfortunately, I don't think this is what's going to do it.
He said unload.
I only have one word: Dan Snyder.
Overrated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, you like my soundboard now.
I love it. That's a great soundboard. That's better than the other shit you were playing. Yeah. Yes.
I am in control. Yeah.
What do you think about Dan Snyder then, Mike?
I think he's been terrible since his Six Flags days. I mean, he's just not a good guy. And there's nothing that I could say nice about him. I mean, he held on to the most racist name ever, and people are still like, "Oh, everybody's so sensitive." Like, dude, if it said white skin, right? You can't call even skinheads get mad if you call them that, right? Like, so imagine a culture that was murdered and killed and the Trail of Tears, all that's real. And you had the balls to keep a football team at this name. The minute somebody said something, hey, that's not right, and then it shouldn't be that. And just like with, any culture, you shouldn't have a mascot for that culture. It kind of degrades them, I hate to say it, but like Apu from Simpsons, Hank Azaria, like stopped doing that character because it was offensive, and he went through this whole situation in his life where he went through therapy and um, culture training and stuff like that to realize that, wow, how was I so disconnected from the people I was hurting? And now he would never do that. And I think he's an advocate for it. Dan Snyder, to this day, was forced by the world to change it, and he almost still didn't. So screw that guy. And then to find out that he's making a bad world not only for people of other colors, but also women. I have a daughter. Like, this guy needs to be canceled in the worst way. If one of those employees are true, then this guy needs to go.
Yeah, leave it to Mike to always takes it to like the all the way to the deep end before he wraps it up. but yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much about the racial slurs name. Obviously, we all know about that. But in terms of this new article and all this stuff, I'm really disappointed that he's not more directly connected. Like, I'm so disappointed. I wanted to hear him like, he did this, he planned this. I want him to be so involved. But of course, he might not be directly linked. But obviously, it's that way for a reason. You hire these people for a reason. You interview Jay Gruden, you interviewed the GM, you interviewed these people and hired them. So you have a responsibility. I hope they still try to find a way to force him out. There's so many things stacked up that you can't believe that this guy still is the owner when other people have been forced to sell for, it seems like, less of up to this point. So I'm hoping he gets forced out. But man, that I mean, we're talking about in terms of pimping out cheerleaders, and man, that's just disgusting. And yeah, he deserves to lose his job and lose the team, and everybody involved needs to lose their job, and they need to revamp that shit from the bottom up.
Agreed.
100%, 100%. It is sad that he isn't directly involved. I know his lawyers were heavily involved before, so who knows what missed the cut, what got taken out, what legal, gymnastics happened to affect the final result of the original article. But even if he wasn't directly connected, you guys are right. Like, you're the boss. Ultimately, it's your responsibility. That culture is bad. And you should, as the boss, you need to mind who's underneath you. That's your role, to control your subordinates. You knew that was happening. And
he's so directly involved that it's you're a liar then, because there's owners that don't do shit, but this guy's one of the owners that's involved in everything. So you're a liar if you don't know what's going on.
And it's the same as when we talked about, like, Jerry Jones not saying anything about the racial injustice issues. Like, your hand is in everything. So for you to be suspiciously quiet now is telling. And so for Dan Snyder to all of a sudden cry, "Oh, I had no idea what was happening here," is bullshit. Unless you did. You knew exactly what it was. And so for that reason, he should lose the team. And that team, and it's funny because it's like, that's like $1 million mansion being run like a crack house. Like, whoever is lucky enough to get that franchise is going to get it for dirt cheap. And It's a good franchise. It's in a good market. It's a historic team and it has a lot of value. And Dan Snyder is ruining it. So even for economic reasons, just off the basic principle of the NFL, this guy is devaluing one of your most valuable franchises. So for that reason, they should figure out a way to get him out, because they've figured out to do lesser things together quicker. So figure it out. Dan Snyder needs to lose his job just because he's just a black eye on the NFL, and he always loses. He's just a loser. Everything about him is a loser. He hires losers. He runs a loser team. His life, he's a loser, and his entire family are a group of losers. Fuck off, Dan Snyder. Mac Brown says that college football should have a commissioner. Is Coach right?
No. I mean, so I don't understand. There's so much intricacies with college football. I mean, what would you gonna have a commissioner for each division? You can have one for the Big Ten. You can have one for the Pac-10. Like what? These are so many things you have to think about. Plus, yes, the colleges make money off of it, but it's their money. I mean, it's so I guess you could. I'm kind of flopping halfway through. I guess you could, but for me, it's not just one standard league. Between the different conferences, the way the different schools are run, it would just be too much involved. If they want to set it up to be more appropriate from, in terms of how you can implement a commissioner, then fine. But for right now and how I see it, I don't think so. I think the only thing that would change it for me is if the players end up getting compensated what they should be worth, and then they set up some type of players union, if you will, then yes, install a commissioner to have both ends of the spectrum run.
Yeah, Bert, you look good. That lighting looks amazing. You got the right amount of sun hitting your face. Happy birthday, bro. I want to touch on college for one reason, because Mayor Chris Walker also brought this right to my head. Joe Paterno didn't do that to those kids, right? That nasty guy did. What was his guy that worked underneath him?
Jerry Sandusky.
Yeah, Sandusky. But college coaches get sanctioned for a lack of administrative control. As an owner, like, this guy should be out just for that. I mean, there's got to be a situation where he knew something and did nothing. I mean, Joe Paterno died.
Penn State killed Joe Paterno. We all know
yeah,
that.
Exactly.
Shout out to Mayor Chris Walker. Shout out to the mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, and then Steve Wallman said you guys are better on the mic than Joe Buck. I don't know if that's a compliment or if Joe Buck is just that terrible, but either way, we'll take it.
I'll take it. Joe Buck's awesome. I love Joe Buck, so yeah. I can't say nothing bad about the guy.
But so as long as they're if they yes, I would like this to happen as long as they're paying the players. That's all I have to say about that. I don't care what they do, but the NCAA is South Park did an episode about how it's pretty much slavery, right? Like, oh, we'll give you free college, like, and most of you won't even get that, like, and we're gonna make millions and millions off of our athletes and not give them anything. It needs to change. We are too smart of a society to not realize these guys are giving it all, risking their lives, getting CTE to one day become a garbage man. Are you effing kidding me? Like, yes, like, get whatever you need in place to make sure these athletes are paid.
Yeah, I like the college football playoffs now, and I like how that's ran. Don't they have like a committee, right?
Right, it's a committee, and there are commissioners in, like, Power 5 has a group. So I mean, they call themselves commissioners.
I like that because like Burke said, there's way too many. It's so big. It's so many different colleges. So big of a country to have one commissioner is, like, it's kind of, it's weird to think about. So I would rather think of it as, the NCAA, and there should be a head of commissioners or a board of trustees or something. That's what makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I think along the lines of what you're saying, because there is so much, I think there should be one overarching party, a guy or a girl, whoever, to basically reel everybody together and represent each conference and represent as a whole, because that's what the role of the commissioner is too, right? The commissioner doesn't work for the sport or doesn't work for the players, it works for the owners. So in this case, the owners would be the conferences, like the respective commissioners, and whoever makes up the conferences still need somebody to kind of, work with. Like, we just seen it with this COVID thing. Like, the Ivy Leagues are doing one thing, Big Ten's doing a different thing, somebody else is doing a different thing. It's like, no, all right, we need one guy or girl or somebody to be in charge where we can communicate this to the NCAA. And I think a commissioner for college football would be excellent. I think it would make things easier. I think it would bring a unity, and it'll expand the playoffs, is what it needs to be done. And they honestly need to restructure the conferences where they create where the conferences are essentially divisions. So the SEC, for the course of the season, will play only SEC teams, and the winner of that, the top two seeds will go on to the Cotton Bowl or whatever bowl is affiliated, and then the winner of that will go to the college football playoff. And so the winners of each of the bowls of each of the conferences will make up the college football playoff, which will give you 6 teams, because then you have the unaffiliated, like Notre Dame place. You just merge those guys together, and there you go. I just fixed college football for the.
But people like to see those big name schools playing interdivisionally during the regular season.
But you can do that New Year's Eve. Like, you can make that happen, right? And it's like you can make the one random match. Like, and honestly, we're only doing that because it's normal. Like, obviously, it'll be different when it changes, but you have to build in the conferences. Eventually, those lesser schools will get built up into better schools. Like, you have to absorb the initial contact, the initial shock of it all. But one thing that does need to change is that Tiger Woods needs to stop golfing in PGA tournaments. Enough of this guy. Tiger Woods didn't, however phrase you want to make it, missed the cut. He didn't win. All right. And I'm tired of looking at Tiger Woods. I'm tired of ESPN cutting to Tiger Woods every time he walks his happy, big teeth ass out onto the green and he swings the club and it goes where it's not supposed to go. And he's out there +2, +4, whatever it is. And he's just like, enough of Tiger Woods. You know when I like Tiger Woods? When he was golfing with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Phil Mickelson. And it was, I can hearken back to a time where Tiger Woods made me feel good to watch him. And now he's just an embarrassment. What do you guys say?
I think you're completely wrong. And I think anybody who's involved in professional golf will say the same thing as I am. He's good for the sport, regardless if he's not doing as well as the leader of the packs right now. If you're at, or when you're able to go to these live events, regardless of where Tiger is placing, these large herds of people want to go watch him play because he is the GOAT of golf, plain and simple. And just because he competes, he's going to get the viewership. He's going to make golf a lot of money, plain and simple. Plus, he's just entertaining to watch. I know you're saying he's not doing well right now. Great. Yeah, one of his first big tournaments back. But, I mean, come on. He's always good for one strong comeback tournament a year.
Listen, Bert, before you go, Mike, here's my problem. That you said everything that strengthens my argument. He's always just coming back. He's always, he's injury this. Oh, he's coming back. How many times has Tiger been back over the last couple years? Like 7 times. Enough. You know what, Tiger? You know what you need to do instead of being back? You need to go away. Go away. Him having large herds of people is actually a problem for golf because Bryson DeChambeau is out there killing it, changing his body, doing what he needs to do. And what is everybody talking about? They're talking about Tiger Woods and his bad putting. Get out of here, Tiger. How about you go sit on the sidelines and get the young kids who actually can competitively play the game, get the shine so they can save the sport. We don't need you. Go play putt-putt, go on TV, go be an analyst, go do something, contribute to golf somewhere where it matters because it definitely isn't going to be the winning. Enough. Go ahead, Mike.
So the last time we talked about golf was when Tiger Woods played against Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, and it was awesome.
And now the next time we talked about golf is when Tiger Woods is playing. So the sport needs him.
What
there's no
last week on the rundown sheet I sent you guys. What golfer? Oh Jesus, nothing. Now it's oh Jesus. What golfer's name did I have on that list that I bumped off because of the Washington?
Yo, you've been dying to talk about DeChambeau's body image for like the past 3 weeks, and
because
look, we get
amazing.
it. You have a man crush on him. It's fine.
And I hope
he beefed up for more power. Big deal. Like win something and then talk to me.
Did he?
Right.
Okay, he won. All right.
So the other thing I would say is like Tiger Woods still is making golf relevant.
No, Tiger Woods is making Tiger Woods relevant,
and that's fine. He's getting paid to do so. So I mean, he gets. Look, I love golfing. We're gonna golf. I'm gonna play these 2 bozos above me this Friday for charity, and it's an amazing cause. But the one thing I brought this out because I knew you were coming after my man. So I brought the red shirt out. This guy goes hunting on Sundays. Ty and I went golfing a couple weeks ago, and we both wore red because that's what Tiger would do.
Good. He needs to go hunt for some better golfing skills. That's what he needs
He's
to
the
go
reason why I touch a golf club. He's the reason why a lot of people do. He's the reason why he's got so much competition. It's an old man sport. Phil Mickelson's like freaking 98 years old, bro. And he's still
better than Tiger Woods now. And he's better than
no, he's not. He's doing what you're saying now, but and we'll only play for certain things. But bro, when Tiger Woods gets on there, I mean, there were still shades of greatness during this entire weekend. He shot amazing on Friday, and then he ended great. And you got to remember, this was his first game, his first match So it's only going to get better from here.
It's not his first match because he comes back 3 times a year.
So
He's
does
playing in the
Jordan,
tournament.
man. He's playing
What are you talking
baseball. Jordan is on the Wizards. Stop.
Oh, but you know what? Do you know what Jordan did? Do you know what Jordan did when he
joined the Wizards?
Listen, do you know what Jordan did when he left the game and came back? He won 3 titles. What has Tiger done? Big Tiger Woods.
I won a shitload of Masters. But anyways,
and he was also number one. Exactly. Thank you. And he was also number one in the world again.
Post cheating on his wife and getting chased around with a golf cart.
He was number one in the world, and he won.
That's how he got in shape. Running. Listen.
That's how he got in shape.
Tiger Woods. Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead. Give Tiger Woods his props.
Yeah, duh. I don't even know how. I'm gonna give Tiger Woods his props. He's like Bert said, he's the GOAT. So that alone means you can do whatever the fuck you want. Period. Right? Jordan is able to come back and play on the Wizards. Not even coming back, from playing baseball, but coming back to play for the Wizards. A lot of people get that kind of respect, and you have to give that kind of respect. So for you to sit here, no. For you to sit here and disrespect the GOAT is wild. Like it's like talking about Michael Jordan. Seriously, it's like talking about Gretzky.
And we told Jordan to hang it up. Jordan was averaging 22 points at the age,
and he became an all-star, and he was an all-star, wasn't he?
Yeah,
because of respect. Because you respect. So you put some respect on Tiger's name. That's
Tiger
all.
was the worst golfer on the team he picked for the Ryder Cup, bro. So it's awful. He's awful.
The only thing I would leave it at is that it is an old man's game, like Mike said, and he's still capable of getting it done because there's plenty of old guys. I don't want to say white guys, but old white guys that are playing still that are able to that can win. He might not be what he was in the past, but even at 44, even at that age in golf, you still can play. We're seeing it now. He just has to. He's hurt for one. He had back issues. He had surgery and all this kind of stuff. But you can get back into the groove of things with the right kind of training. I'm in golf now, so I can see that is mainly mental, really, right? And like muscle memory and stuff. It's like any old person can swing a golf club, man. Like he can get there, and I'm not worried about him. And just the fact that he's a GOAT means you have to put respect on his name.
Tiger Woods,
underrated.
Oh. Jeremy, you said that. Wow.
I did say that. Wow. Oh my God. Can't wait to see Tiger get back out there and like not finish the match or finish somewhere on we got to go to the third page to see his name. Tied for 94. Anyway, Astros pitching coach Brett Strom is holding a grudge over that missed strike against Soto in the World Series in 2017, which is ironic. Is it okay for him to publicly admit that he has a grudge?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay for him to publicly admit, but he's just going to continue to look like an asshole about it, plain and simple. Like, fuck you. Who are you in professional sports to sit here and play the fucking hypotheticals? First off, after the cheating scandal broke, you have zero say in anything. If you wear that H or anything with the Astros on it right now, the only thing you can say is, we're working hard to become the best version of a team that we can become. Plain and simple. You're going to harp on the past after all that shit comes out? Fuck you. Plain and simple. Besides the fact that he has the gall, this old-time baseball pitching coach has the gall to say the computer had it at 95% a strike. So I'm reading this going, okay, old-time baseball guy, are you more for in-person calls? Or are you now starting the argument where maybe we should have computer umpires too? What are you saying? Are you saying you were cheated out? But look, the count was 2-1. Had that been called a strike, congratulations, it's at 2-2. You know, Greinke could have totally botched the next 2 pitches, and you're in the same fucking situation you were in before. It's not like it was a huge call. It's not like it was a full count call, and then it was a strike that was called the ball, and then that's what led to it. It's like, dude, just fucking grow up. Admit that you lost. Plain and simple.
The Astros created COVID just so they didn't have to play a baseball team.
That's a serious question. COVID has benefited the Astros more than any team in sports, right? Like
far.
They're going to get away with this because of COVID, for the most part. I'm sure people will bring it up, but the vitriol won't be as bad as it would have been had everything went normally.
It's probably
there's no fans. That's why.
Yeah, it's probably Astros and Korean baseball because I'm sure somewhere in Korea there's Jamal and A-Rod going back and forth about Korean sports.
Yo, the Dyson, love them. My guys over there. Go ahead, Ty.
That's annoying, right? Like harping on old stuff, especially when you're a damn cheater. But you got to look forward, man. Like, you got to look forward. This is the coach. This is the pitching coach that's upset about a pitch count.
Coach, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's frivolous, and you lost, and you cheated.
Yeah, but is there a situation where you could be right? Because at the end of the day, he was right. Like, that was a missed.
Well, I think what Burr said was like that. It stuck for me the most. Like, this is baseball. You're an old timer. You're probably trying to fight for the umpire to stay making the call and not robots. So don't say this now, because this is part of baseball. Calls are missed, and it's not. It's still 9 innings. It's still more than this one pitch. There's more than this one thing. So you can't harp on this one pitch. This is that's baseball. It's literally.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, you can't harp on the past, coach, and we know you guys are cheaters, and we know you guys are bad for the game. So going from one bad thing in the game to another bad person in the game, disgraced wide receiver Antonio Brown announced his retirement from professional football. If nobody wants you, is that a retirement?
I mean, yeah, look, you're still announcing that you're no longer going to play, but I can guarantee you, if, like, let's say we start the football season, everything looks good, and someone gives him a call and says, hey, will you come out of retirement? He's jumping at that opportunity. But, I mean, no one's going to take it seriously because, like you just said, yeah, of course, no one wants you. You're an absolute head case. You made a fool of yourself on multiple occasions, filming your coaches and your teammates because you didn't like where you were, and you look like an asshole, plain and simple. So you announcing your retirement, it just means that you're a used piece of trash no one wants to pick up at the end of the day, plain and simple.
I'm going to go the opposite route. I want AB on my team. I do. I root for underdogs. I remember.
That's what happens when you have no wide receivers.
Yes, and I remember the greatness, which is Antonio Brown. I think that there are chemical imbalances in all of our brains that, if not worked on or figured out, that shit could unravel quick, man. And
I'm sorry.
No, I got you, but you do a lot of things naturally to help your mental health, and that
chemical imbalances.
Yes.
Overrated.
Nice,
You
that's
bugging, bro. He is a grown-ass man who decided to walk into his doctor's office, tell his buddy, hey, record this, and then fart in his doctor's face when he's trying to give him a physical. There's a process to that. That isn't something that you just – that's not something that the chemical imbalances just make you spontaneously do. Like, fuck off.
That's pretty funny. It's like he watched too much South Park.
I got you, but it's like – but it's like that's the thing, and this announcement of his retirement is part of that. Bro, that's like when you're in a sport. That's like if you're in a Facebook group and you don't like what's going on and you make a post saying, you know what, guys, I'm leaving this Facebook group. All right, well, you internet nobody gives a fuck, bro.
Why'd you have to announce it?
Then why'd you have to announce it? Exactly. That's how I felt.
Leave. Yeah, why you told us?
Just like, bro, like you're not retiring. Nobody wants you. Like, you're gone. You're out of the league.
Well, here's what I would say is that was magical. His one moment he had. And go to Magical Moments on a sponsor of the Mike Show. They're quite amazing if your kid needs that kind of entertainment. But anyway, it was magical what he did with Tom Brady that 1 week. It was, and it showed that he still had a lot in the tank. If this guy had 2 more seasons, he's a Hall of Famer.
Tom Brady makes college lacrosse players look like fucking all-stars. I'm pretty sure Tom Brady can make one of the best receivers in the game look good for 1 week, you know?
He made Deion Branch the Super Bowl MVP, bro. Like, I'm not trying to hear
that. We're not arguing that AB isn't talented. We're arguing that
not at all.
It's his off-the-field stuff, antics that have gotten him there, right? So, unfortunately for his talent, Kanye's dropping a new album next week, right?
We don't speak his name here.
I got you, but he's dropping one, and I bet you I'll sell 90% of musicians in the world, right?
Probably more than that.
Right. So, AB unfortunately can't do his craft because there's some owner that tells him he can't. So I'll let Ty give his AB thoughts, but that'll lead me to my second and last question, and then we can go back around the room. So Ty, you could finish your thoughts on AB's retirement. But Mike brought up a good point. So what are your thoughts? And is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
considering he's done now. Like, let's assume he'll never play again from today.
No, if he never plays again, he can't be a Hall of Famer because of because of what he's gone through off the fields. Like his last game, I guess, was for the Patriots, but before that one game, wasn't the last game with the Steelers, and the Steelers missing the playoffs and him not playing and just
he left
not showing
through.
it. Yo,
he sabotaged the Steelers. The Steelers were going to win that division.
That was where that's where I drew the line. Like, you can say what you want, you can do what you want, but you don't abandon your team. You don't quit. Like, literally, he quit. He did not show up for the last game of the season when it's a playoff game. Pretty much, you have to win to get in the playoffs, and you don't show up. That is beyond despicable. So after that, I was already done with him. But then you see all the other stuff. There's like a million things he add on top of that afterwards. You're like, bro. I'm surprised the Patriots signed him, and I'm surprised people were even thinking about it afterwards. I'm glad he retired. I hope nobody ever signs him. He blew his shot so many times. He blew it. So, I feel bad for AB though, and Mike makes a very good point. There's clearly something wrong with him. This is not even a joke, and I hate to laugh about it. Clearly, something is wrong in his mind the way he's been acting. But that's not a pass, and you did it, and now you should be out of job. And you should figure out how to get your life back together on your own terms. And shouldn't be in the NFL. And he's definitely not a Hall of Fame player because of those reasons. If he didn't have any of those things and played well, maybe. But still, I needed to see more. Like, you have all this stuff left in the tank. He's not done. He's far from done. He has at least 3 years in his prime of athleticism, but he pissed that away by being an idiot. So for that reason alone, he can't be a Hall of Famer. He doesn't belong there.
Bert, is he a Hall of Famer?
I'm inclined to say no, but I haven't glanced at what his numbers are. Look, as much as Hall of Fame takes a lot of things into consideration, including character, we have seen over the years that even they're willing to bend on certain things. Look, plain and simple, it took longer for, T.O. to get into the Hall of Fame than it should have. And a lot of that was because of his character and his off-field activities or just his attitude overall. But the league bent on that, and they finally came around because you give credit where credit is due. Did he produce on the field? Are his numbers are there? Yes. So I don't know if he is. I haven't looked at his career numbers now that he's officially retired. But honestly, if they're up there with some of the greats, I think he should go on a ballot for consideration. But something tells me he's probably not up there. He had potential. Like Ty said, he had potential to do great things. And I agree with Jerm. You're a grown-ass man. And I understand mental health a lot closer than most people do for a number of different reasons. And the first thing you do is you go and get help. And if you have people around you saying, why are you acting like this? Maybe you should go talk to somebody. Get shit done, especially someone with that much resource and money that they should be able to go swallow your pride, go talk to somebody and figure it out, plain and simple. But he went out, he did his own thing. That's why a part of me thinks that it's maybe not so much mental illness, is more just being an asshole.
Mike?
I feel like he's in the right sport for this. I feel like and I might be wrong, but I feel like
it's typical wide receiver stuff almost.
Right. I feel like, the NFL Hall of Fame has a lot of guys that you're like, huh? And, and that's why I shrug my shoulders when people talk about Eli and potentially not being one, because I could rattle off ridiculous play. He is because of the situation and because of, and maybe in any sport he would be. Like, I think of him as the Giants' Derek Jeter, very untalented, but in a right position. But anyway, moving on. It's his birthday.
Antonio Brown, probably, if you wanted to put him in the Barry Sanders, like, he didn't play long, but he had monster numbers. You could make that argument for Antonio Brown. But like you said, like Bert was saying, the NFL, whoever the committee or whoever is in charge, have already shown that they will let their emotions trump the opinions and the facts, right? So he probably won't get in because you can easily say time, right? Like, he was great for this short period of time. And honestly, if he was Larry Fitzgerald, like that type of person, he'd be in.
Is Calvin Johnson in, right? Because Calvin Johnson ain't make it, right?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you could, but like
T.O.'s a bad comparison, I think, because T.O. played a very long.
He played a very long time,
career.
and
it's a shame he wasn't first ballot. It was ridiculous. And he was one of the best. He's top 5.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It was his attitude that kind of
was.
kept him out, and why people did.
That's
yeah,
why he
and
wasn't
had a
first
great
ballot.
long career.
Because
So
a lot of those voters were writers during T.O.'s prime, so they wrote him. They, a lot of them didn't like him, right? Like that's just the way it is. You could argue him. You could argue T.O. in the top three. He's top three in all the damn wide receiver, whatever wide receiver category you want. He's top three.
First ballot, in my opinion.
So he's clearly a first ballot, and we've had this conversation before. Hey, whatever that important positional criteria is. So if you're a receiver, I need to know how many touchdowns and catches and yards you had. If you're in the top 10 in all of those, there shouldn't even be a vote for you. Like there shouldn't be. And so Antonio Brown is interesting. Like I said, it's because his antics. If T.O., who is top 3, top 5, wherever you want to put him, he's not going to 6. So whatever number you want to give him, 5 through 1, if he didn't make the ballot and they refused, like you really just couldn't. And honestly, if the noise just didn't get louder every year, I feel like he would have waited longer. The noise got too big because it was too egregious because he was a top 5 receiver, and so of all time. Antonio Brown probably isn't a top 5 receiver all time, but he's great. Like what he did was great in that short period of time. If he had a better attitude, if he went out a little bit more graciously, I could probably see them putting him in. But like
as it stands now, there's no way. I think
there's no way, and I think time is going to be the scapegoat here because they obviously can't say we didn't like him as a person because they're not supposed to. So time is probably a good argument where they could say he just didn't play long enough. So, we'll skip the last one. We'll save that for happy hour. On happy hour, I need to know what was the weirdest thing. Actually, no, real quick. What's the weirdest sports thing you gambled on? I'll go first. I gambled on the coin toss of the Super Bowl in 2010, and I lost $80.
I've never gambled on a sporting event ever, and I'm happy to say that.
Good for you, buddy. It's bad.
The XFL.
Underrated.
Me and my wife, we won some money during the Super Bowl because it was like if you bet $20, like they quadrupled it or something. And like, so I bet 20 on one team, she bet it on the other. And then we took our winnings and we tried to cash out. And they're like, no, you got to play them again. So we played XFL and we won probably $60.
Oh, good for you, buddy.
But I do want to do a Mike's pick during football season and see how many I could get right or wrong.
Oh, I love it.
Boom.
All right.
I didn't bet on anything weird that I can remember. I don't think, but my most recent bet that was very emotional was as soon as Kobe died, I bet on the Lakers to win a championship. I just as soon like a couple days later, I was like, man, I think they're gonna fucking make this happen. They're gonna win for Kobe, and I bet on the Lakers this season. Still to this moment in time, I'm still in on the Lakers betting wise, and I would all for losing my money if the Sixers win. But that's the only way I'm okay with losing my money.
Move.
Yeah, I like that move too. So yeah, that was the warm up. Real quick, I'll just go over it real quick. You guys can give me a thumbs up or not. NBA just tested all 364 players in the bubble. We had 0 positive coronavirus tests. So, hooray! NBA is doing something right.
I like this move.
The bubble works. I know I criticized the NBA bubble name because the bubble sounds weak and fragile. And hey, 0 coronavirus in the bubble, so NBA will play on. Last thing, there was something else. Fuck it. We're here to talk about. Actually, you know what? Before we go to football, because we have 2 divisions, and we will talk about MLB's exhibition opening week, whatever you want to call it. Last weekend, we had baseball back for the first time, guys. Just overall reaction. How did you feel? Like, what games did you watch? I know what games you watched, but did you consume any other games? Like, what were your takeaways from the first live look at professional baseball?
Oh man, I loved it. I mean, for
course
these
you loved
exhibition
it.
games, especially for the Yanks and even the Mets too. I mean, this is for them to really finalize, their roster and their starters and see who's going to make it and who's not, and get a look at your pitching to see how that looks. It is different without a crowd there. I I definitely don't like it because I like the crowd noise. But I mean, as you can see from Citi Field and even from Yankee Stadium, they are pumping some type of crowd noise there. It's just not as loud as you would expect it to be if they were like, Mike's picking everything up on the field. But I will say the one thing I love is it picks up on the crack of that bat so well, having an empty stadium like that, where every single time, like you can just second you hear it, you just know. And there's just like a jolt of electricity through your body when you watch Aaron Judge hit those home runs. Oh, man, thing of beauty. But, I mean, look, I'm happy it's back. I didn't really watch any other games. I caught some highlights of what the Phillies were doing opening weekend, too, only because a lot of ex-Yankee players over there, especially Didi, who looks huge. Now, I don't know what he was eating in the offseason, but the dude is absolutely jacked. And no, look, look, I'm happy for it. I can't wait, 2 more days, and we've got, opening day for the Yanks. So I'm real excited about it.
Yeah, I'd actually like to do maybe a post opening day game with you because my boy Fauci's throwing out the first pitch. Yeah, I got political. Deal with it. And the other thing is, like, honestly, like a Yankee win is a Met win. I'm not playing against you guys. Well, I am 8 games, but if you take down Washington, it's only good for me. The other thing is, the Yankees are defending the Mets because they're the ones that have to watch this banner go up in the stadium. We don't. And originally, if the season went on even for one day, that would have been the Mets in Washington watching them post that pennant and freaking get their little girly rings. But look, and I only call it girly because it's their ring, not mine. But anyway, so the other thing I'd also say is, listen, like, I watched this show and they were talking about our pitchers weren't up to par. They were quadruple A. I don't know what that means, but what I do know is that, yeah, we were trying to test out a lot of pitchers to figure out who's going to be in that 5th rotation or also who's going to be a long man coming out or even an opener. So the Mets went into this weekend with different types of things they had to figure out as a team. The Yankees also went into this fully healthy with a ridiculous bench. That next man up is serious. So I tip my cap to you guys. You have a ton of extra pieces that you could just put in place and still win a championship. So good luck to you. I hope you mess up when we play you. But other than that, have fun. Beat up the NL East as much as you can.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much. All I saw was some highlights of the Yankees. I really was planning on tuning in for the Yankees Mets, and some work came up. But yeah, I saw highlights from Yankees Mets and also Phillies and Nationals, and it's going to be an interesting season. I think it was upsetting to see the Yankees like just clobber on the Mets. But I guess we kind of thought that would happen. I just would hope that, Polar Bear, not Pistol Pete. Pete, he was there, right?
His nickname, yeah, he was there.
He was there. Okay, man. I didn't see any. He was on the highlights. I'll tell you that. So it's like, what Dan was he doing? What happened, man? So I guess wasn't any other much offense from the Mets, and that's upsetting. So that's all I can think about. I just want to see more from the Mets, man.
Yeah, so
Yankees look good though, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Judge had like what?
We got a deep bench.
He had like 3 home runs in like the 2 games or whatever they held against the Mets or whatever.
Yeah, he had 2 on Sunday and 1 on Monday. So
unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you have so much money. You could just buy good players. I mean, just with reckless abandon.
That is exactly what happens. Yeah,
Bert looks so fucking cocky. He's like, yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, embrace it. Look, it is what it is. I've been enduring this shit for years. Like, oh, when you can buy whoever you want. Like, yeah, no fucking shit. Like, it is like, look, it is. These are the resources we have. Like, I'm not like it just got. But at the same point, like when we go out and we buy these pitchers, we buy these big league hitters, and they don't end up working out. It makes it all the worse when we end up losing early or get knocked out early from playoffs because you're like, why do we spend the money if we're not going to win?
You should win every year. You should win every World Series.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, and it's funny. That's a funny criticism because it's like we all would do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was my like if that was my team I would I would love to buy all the players. Like, there was my defense of like Kevin Durant. Like, if the Sixers won 73 and whatever, and we're the best team in the league, I'd want the best free agent available too. On top, like, I want LeBron, KD, and the ghost of Len Bias. Like, give them all of them. Like, I need them all.
Yeah, apparently the Mets are losing $50 million this season. As much as the Yankees are spending, they're not losing that, right? So nobody's over in the Bronx complaining about, being in the red. So, that's food for thought. So whatever they're doing, their fan base loves. So
well, we need Jeff Bezos, because he made $13 billion yesterday. He could have bought the Mets 3 times and still had $2 billion.
Could have bought every New York, and could have bought the Brooklyn Nets with it.
God, man, just off the money he made yesterday, like, we need to find that guy. Anyway, so I'm particularly interested in the season. I told Mike offline that I am vested into actually trying to follow baseball. I know. I'm going to pick a few teams. Baseball's just, it's not like basketball or football where you can follow the entire sport. It's just too, I mean, maybe in a 60-game season, maybe it's possible, but there's just too much going on to know everything. But I'm going to try. I made a bold prediction on social that the Reds are going to be my breakout team, with Trevor Bauer and Suarez and Votto's up there. But I think the Reds are going to be my breakout team off of the little bit of research I did, trying to figure out a way to get this through. But I mean, it's funny. It's like a month ago we were talking about how baseball probably wasn't going to exist, like just all the turmoil. It's like it's the first back, and it's like everybody seems to be enjoying themselves. People are watching it. The ratings were good. It's like, what did we go through all that bullshit for? Like, what was the whole point of doing any of that? And I think it's probably the collective bargaining agreement. I think they're going to figure out the piped-in noise. I know the English Premier League soccer, for all you soccer fans out there, they do a really good job of playing the noise all throughout the match, like a steady noise. They know when to do the cheers. They know when to do the boos. They know when to do the chants. If you close your eyes, you would actually think it was live. Like, they did it so well.
Half of soccer is the most boring thing you could ever watch in your life. It's people midfield kicking back and forth. Of course they know when something big is going to happen. Like, baseball is a 90-mile-an-hour pitch, and you got to decide if it was a ball strike, and the crowd has to. So it's going to be a little bit tougher. But the other thing I would like to point out is, with all of this, the polar bear is going to be mic'd up, and I'm excited for that because it's exactly what Ty predicted on the last Mike show. He said, "Look, they need to do XFL type stuff, and it's not just one game; it's all 60 games. Pete's going to have a mic on."
Is that like from the MLB, or the MLB network? Like, is it ESPN? Like, what is the network? What is that?
So far, he's the only player I know that agreed to it. So I don't know if SNY for the first time, the Wilpons who own that, were like, "Hey, this is a great idea," or if like Pete is just that, like, this is my sport. I want to make it better. And I want to do this. So I don't know. He's also doing, with his Homers for Heroes, he's nominating, he wants people to nominate a vet or a hero, a true hero, everyday hero. And my first nomination is my nephew, Johnny, who's 17 years old and right now is doing basic training for the Army. And he didn't graduate high school yet. He's going to come back after his training, finish out his school year, whatever it is, because of COVID. But to know at 17, I didn't know what car I wanted. I didn't know what girl I wanted. This guy knows he wants to go serve his country and protect us knuckleheads so we could sit here and complain. So kudos to him. He's a bigger man than I am. And I'm just proud to be in his life.
Yeah, I was jerking off to Tiffany Towers at 17. Good for you, buddy, out there defending the country.
What a transition! Shout out to Johnny, man. Shout out to Johnny Numbers, though, for real.
Johnny Numbers, the god. Shout out to that. I love that kid, man. He's a good kid. We are going to jump straight into the top 5 running backs because we're going to finish this with a longer segment, and we'll do the running backs quickly first. I did a really deep dive on these running backs, man. Like I was like, yo, first, honestly, number 1 is easy, right? We all know number 1.
They're all easy.
Do you?
Who?
I don't know. No. I think the top five is easy. We'll talk. Go ahead.
All right. So
I think
I'll
people
just
are going to be mad at my list. I
Are
did a
you?
deep dive, and I don't think people are going to like how I ranked him. But I mean, forewarning, I only took rushing yards. I didn't do any of that, check
Then,
down
my
pass
God.
yards
Oh my
bullshit
God.
added to it. So
I
I only
all
did
right,
yards from scrimmage. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna do you last then. Oh, I want to hear this.
Okay.
So I'll quickly
I'm
run
not
through it.
going first.
I went Christian McCaffrey number one. That's the easy choice. It's C-Mac. I mean, he's the future of the position. He's going to be the last running back to get the monster contract. I think Ezekiel Elliott is number two. I put Saquon number three, but I did that because I think after 1 and 2, it really just depends on what you like. And the more I thought about it, and I honestly I thought about putting a different guy up here, but when I looked at it on paper, I said, "Yo, this is nuts. I can't put him at number 3." So I went with I went with Saquon Barkley, and the guy that I couldn't put at number 3, I put at number 4. Nick Chubb is the 4th best running back in the league.
Overrated.
No, I love him. He won me. I think he won me a championship.
Underrated.
I love me some
Underrated. And here's another controversial one because I wanted to put, and I know a lot of people are waiting for Derrick Henry, and I didn't put him in my top 5 because he's only did it really like the way we're recognizing it last year and part of the year before, but he's just been in the league where it's my argument with Cam Newton. I'm not going to take the 1 year you were great and just make that the book about you when I have all this extra footage of you saying otherwise. So I put at number 5, and I wanted to put Dalvin Cook there, and I didn't. I put Joe Mixon, number 5.
Wow.
You put Joe Mixon over Derrick Henry?
Wow. Okay.
Joe Mixon has been more consistent when he's been playing than Derrick Henry has. So that's my top 5. Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Christian McCaffrey. Who wants to go next?
I'm going to go next. I'm going next. All right. So, yeah, I think C-Mac is 1. Christian McCaffrey is 1. You make a – I mean, when you said Zeke, I was like, man, maybe I have 2 and 3 mixed up because I have C-Mac, Barkley, Zeke.
No, okay. So I put Zeke only – okay. I took a couple of notes. He hasn't missed a game other than the suspension.
He's on Zeke, right?
Zeke.
Yeah, no, that's why I
he had like 2,300 yards, bro.
Yeah, no, Zeke's the man. I hate it because he's a cowboy, right? It's
that's what it is. When he's on, when the offensive line was bad, he was unstoppable, bro.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
I don't know.
If I'm taking everything out and I'm just picking talent, I think I'm still picking Barkley, and that's kind of why I put him at 2. Is because like if I'm just picking the best player, I think Barkley is just his whole game. I think is better than Zeke's, but Zeke is good too, and I've only seen him behind a very good line though. So and Barkley has much of nothing, and just is still just a workhorse. And then he has some injuries that's still scary. So I'm just talking about pure talent. I like Barkley over Zeke, but production, Zeke is probably number 1, obviously, right? If you're talking about production, Zeke's probably 1. But C-Mac, Barkley, Zeke, and then I'm going Kamara, Alvin Kamara. I don't know how you don't like him. How you like Cook over Kamara? I like all-purpose Kamara. I think when he gets the ball, he makes a lot of things happen. I like him, and the offense maybe is something to do with it, but people weren't putting up the numbers he's putting up in the same offense. So I like Kamara, and then I like Henry. That's my 5. I do like Henry, and yeah, he's been in a couple seasons and only really been good the past season and a half. But last season was monstrous, and it was next level. And I expect the same thing because of Rabel and because of the system he's in. So I think the sky's the limit for him still, and that's my 5.
So we're talking 2020, and the one
going
thing
into
I've learned
2020
about fantasy football is like I drafted Bell number 1, and then the dude didn't play. You know what I mean? Like I've been in multiple situations where that running back the year prior that everybody touted as number 1, he never finishes number 1. So my number 1 is the bark. Barkley's going number 1 this year.
My
He's
God.
number 1. You could call it whatever it is. I'm going, because I won Homer on the other one, I'm going number 2 with Zeke. So I do think he's due to have an amazing year. So that means C-Mac, who's if everybody's touting him as number 1, he's gonna fall back. Like, that crown is, whatever happens with running backs, nobody holds that crown for a long time, right? And it seems like when you're number 1 that year, you either underperform or you just fade away. So I'm putting him back to number 3 to hopefully help him with his juju, so he is number 1. And then so I don't know. It's just and then Kamara, I'm going with my 4th pick. I think awesome system. Saints.
Wow.
Breeze is getting older. This guy's going to get more options and more opportunities, to do what he needs to do. So that's where I'm going there. And then the Vikings always have they're a playoff team more often than not, and they have a great running game. So I'm going Dalvin Cook for my 5th.
Man, Mike, I agreed with you almost 1 through 3. Where you lost me was Kamara, and here's why. And when I think running back as a position player, I think it is a rush position. And Kamara's a good football player, don't get me wrong, and he's a good running back. But looking over his stats and his numbers, everybody thinks of him as this great player because if you're in a PPR fantasy league, he's getting you points because he is Drew Brees' check down man, plain and simple. But if you look at him in a rushing position, he hasn't had one season where he's even broken maybe 900 rushing yards. So that's why he's not even on my list. So 943, yeah. So that's why he didn't make my list. Look, good football player. I'll draft him on my fantasy team, but when we're talking running backs, I couldn't consider him. And Dalvin Cook, too. So Dalvin Cook had a great breakout season last year, but it was his first season. It could have been a fluke, so I'm kind of unsure about him. So when I was analyzing my list, I went through it. I went through rushing yards, touchdowns, games played, fumble losses. Well, fumbles and then fumble losses. And then I also took into consideration consistency, too. I'll start with my 5 and work my way up to the 1. My 5 is Nick Chubb. I think he deserves all the credit in the world for doing what he's doing, especially over the past 2 seasons with a team like the Browns. His first season, 996 yards rushing. Second, jumped to 1494 with 8 touchdowns. Played all 16 games. So you got to put it, to him 100%. I think he's undervalued as a running back. I really do. Number 4 has to be Derrick Henry. He is changing that team, plain and simple. Now, when we do talk consistency, he started off slow 2016, 2017, but if you look at 2018 and 2019, he straight up killed it and played all games too. He's staying healthy. I expect him to make another huge impact for that team. And when we get into that conference too, or that division, gladly talk about how the Titans are probably going to win. Number 3 is C-Mac. And I put him at number 3, kind of what Mike talked about too. When is the longevity going to end? And I know you're basing it off hypotheticals, but if you go back and you look too, I mean, he had a slow start his first year. I mean, granted, he only started 10 of those games out of the 16, only had 2 touchdowns, 435 yards, but everything else has been above 1,000. He's explosive, don't get me wrong. But if you were looking at him compared to Zeke, there is no comparison. Even if you just compare 2017 to 2019, because Zeke has been playing longer, Zeke blows him out of the water every single time. So I had to go Zeke at the 2 spot. Now, the 1 spot I'm going to catch shit for because it's a homer call. And as a Giant fan, I couldn't not put Saquon at the top, plain and simple. And I'll tell you why. Because no one else on my list has consistently broken 1,000 yards rushing their first 2 seasons. And Saquon's only fumbled once, and he has never lost it. So he fumbled it, but the Giants recovered it. So he doesn't have a fumble loss to him. I don't think. Someone can fact check me on that one, but I thought my research was airtight. In his first year, he played all 16 games. Last year, he only played 13. Still recorded 1,003 rushing. So I had to give him the top spot. I think he's in a good position. The Giants were beefing up their O-line. So, hopefully they'll have a huge, huge season for him this year.
Okay, so Bert doesn't care about running backs that can actually catch the ball. Moving on.
Well, okay,
you need to catch the ball. You need to be handed the ball when you're running back. This is my argument. It is a rush position, plain and simple.
But my boy had 700 receiving yards too.
Well, C-Mac is the first. He's the first running back to have 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards in a season. I mean, it's unbelievable. But if I'm listening and then putting myself in Bert's shoes based on the list, based on what
he did a
he's saying,
great job. He did a great job.
then I agree, right? Like, yeah, sure. Like if you are strictly looking at the ability to run with the football, and I'm taking away the pass catching, then sure. You know, I can see why your list is the way it is. I just don't agree with that logic, only because that's just the game's evolving, right? Like that's just the way it is, right? The game, it's
Right, look at
C-Mac,
tight end.
the guys like that, right? Like yeah, Jimmy Graham went through this whole battle because he wanted to get paid like a receiver because that's the way the Saints were using him, and that's ultimately what led to him, leaving. But yeah, we're gonna do more of these top fives as the NFL season ramps up. Next week we will be doing the quarterbacks. So do your research. I can't wait, Bert. For Bert, in the spirit of Bert, I'm not going to do running backs who can run the ball. So guess what? Only passing. You can only just stand there in the pocket and pass. No running quarterback on my list.
That's fine. That's probably where I was going to go with it anyways. So
Who are the best throwers of the football? Spoiler alert. His name is Aaron. All right, so we will continue this. And because I love Ty so much, we'll start with the NFC South so we could talk about his boy. So the NFC South is going to be interesting. I think, honestly, when I did this list, I picked the two most competitive divisions probably in football in terms of just how it's going to be. With the NFC South probably being the toughest. I mean, look at the caliber of quarterbacks. You have Tom Brady. You have Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Bridgewater down there in Carolina now. You have Drew Brees, of course. And then you have Matty Ice in Atlanta and the ugly uniforms in the Atlanta Falcons. So first question to you guys, just the hardest question, who's the best team in the NFC South?
it's got to be the Bucks. It has to be. Like, I've struggled with this for a while too, because I'm going over the Bucks roster, I'm going over the Saints roster, and as much as it pains me to admit, Tom Brady still has juice left in him, and I just hope he plays well in Florida. And with the Saints organization, as stacked as their team is, there was some stress when Drew Brees was going through his ignorant phase of speaking on things he didn't know or shouldn't have spoken about when it came over to the BLM movement and kneeling for the national anthem. So, but if you look at the Bucks and what they've done and stacked up, and now with the addition of Gronk too, and granted he's taken a year off, I'm sorry, or maybe I'm not sorry, to be honest with you. I think it's the Bucks' year to win that division. It's going to be a shootout between the Saints and the Bucks, to be honest with you. And I know Matt Ryan is there, and you even have Teddy Bridgewater with the Panthers. The Panthers, for me, are finishing last in that division, plain and simple. And maybe the Falcons will be in it with them. But if I were to bet, I'd say it'd probably be the Bucks ahead of all.
First of all, I just want to say I thought we just wanted the AFC East and NFC North, or am I bugging?
No, we did have that, but when he said it at the beginning of the show, I looked up real quick and I was like, all right, I'm going to do my rankings.
All right.
So
I'm set to do the North. If you want to do the North, we can do the North.
We could do the North. I told everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what happened. In the group chat, I said NFC South, and then when I did the graphic, I realized I put the North real fast, and so I switched it. I thought I deleted it so nobody saw it first. So if you saw the North on there, my bad, but the chat says South for sure. And so if you're not prepared, but I figured you'll know enough.
I'm always prepared.
I know you're always prepared. So tell us why the Bucks are going to win the NFC South, Ty. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm on record to say that the Saints are going to win the NFC South. I'm on record saying that.
Reverse jinx.
Sure. I mean, we're making it playoffs. I mean, I'm definitely saying we're making it playoffs. I'm just saying I believe the Saints have enough.
Let me fact check Ty real fast.
No, you can check it. Now I remember very, very vividly because.
Oh, he does. Okay.
No, I remember very vividly because of their experience together, because of Sean Payton being there already for a long time with Breeze and their talent. Clearly, it's between those two teams, and as we all can understand and agree with that. But I can see how the Saints will have the better regular season record because of their experience together. And, and what I was saying in the previous episodes was I can see it being like the Saints are going 13-3 and we're going 12-4. Like, it's going to be too hard to they might win one more game better than us and we will be that wild card. And I'm not worried about it. I think we'll be able to. I think we're still a better team, and I think when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to the playoffs, I'm always going to bet on. I'm going to bet on the quarterback. Breeze is amazing. I love Breeze, but Brady's Brady. Like, I'm sorry, Brady's Brady. Every season, I bet on the Patriots. I don't bet money wise, but mentally, I'm like Belichick, Brady. I'm betting. No longer have that duo. But I love me some Bruce Arians. If y'all remember when we hired him, I'd never been more excited. But from besides Brady recently, I was excited about Bruce Arians. So this coach combination with Brady, it better work, and I think it will work. But I still believe the Saints have enough to pull it out in a regular season, no big deal. It's just regular season. We'll still have plenty of wins, and we'll still make the playoffs. And I still think we're gonna win the Super Bowl, and we'll be right there. But I think the Saints have enough to win the regular season.
What about you, Mike?
I do not think the Saints have enough. I think that turmoil, a team's only as good as their leader. So they're going all the way to last for me. I'm going Bucks because they're going to finish the division last. You could laugh all you want. They are going to tank. It's going to be embarrassing. Drew Brees is probably going to retire halfway through the season. A lot's going to happen. You heard it here first. So I'm going Bucks, one, because they already had weapons before they had a Brady. They already had my best friend Ty, excited to be a Bucks fan, and that's saying a lot, right? So, and he's always supported my team, so I'm always going to say his team's going to win no matter what. Then I'm going Atlanta. Dirty Birds, baby. Number 2.
Atlanta's bike? Uh-oh. Okay, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
They're coming back. Panthers are horrible. And then 4th is Drew Brees and his racist rants. So that's it.
So the problem, I think Atlanta's going to have a bounce back season. And if there was a gun to my head, I would probably say, yeah, Carolina is going to be last in that division, but I don't think it's because they're going to be bad. I just think everybody else is just going to be too good.
Division. Yep.
So the record will probably be bad because they have to face these teams twice, and it'll look worse than what they really are. You have first-time coach Matt Rule figuring his things out. The Panthers. The problem with the Panthers is the one thing they fixed everything other than the problem that they had that led to the demise, quote unquote, of Cam Newton. They didn't fix their pass protection. And you have a guy like Teddy Bridgewater back there who could do similar things to Cam Newton, but at the end of the day, his legs slid off his body somehow, and you have nobody to protect him. And he's, it's just a scary situation if you're a Panthers fan to wonder what's going to happen. They let Trey Turner go in the offseason, like probably the best offensive lineman they had. And it's not good for Teddy Bridgewater to walk into that situation. But I think their defense is good. It'll be good because Matt Rule's a defensive coach. I just think there's too much in that division for the Panthers. They're going to look worse than what they really are. So it'll be interesting there. I think Atlanta's in that same boat. I just don't think they have enough. I think they're a good team. They're put together, decent. Their problem's going to be defense. I don't think they have a good pass rush. I've looked at some of their defensive players because that's really what it's coming down to. You have Drew Brees, you have Peyton Manning. I'm not Peyton Manning. I'm sorry. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and you're going to have to get to them. That's the only way to beat them. And Carolina may have the defense, but they're not going to have the offense. And Atlanta's the opposite. They're going to have the offense to score. They're just not going to have the defense to stop them. So those two are going to be out of it. So when you come down to, and I said this before, I don't think you can throw together Gronk and Tom Brady and onto what the Buccaneers had and make them a Super Bowl contender. But you have the quarterback that I trust, and then you have the coach that I trust to make it work in Bruce Arians. on top of the weapons they had. So it's a matter of, is it the Bucs talent or is it going to be New Orleans consistency, right? Like that's the choice you're going to have to make. And I think I'm going to choose the team that's been doing it more consistently. And that's the Saints. I mean, they have to be the unluckiest team of the decade. I mean, they've lost so many of these playoff games by these fluke-ass calls, these fluke-ass turnovers, these fluke-ass possessions. And it's one of these years, it just, it has to happen for them. It's not like they're losing off of some, they're just getting beat. Like they're getting beat by like karma, by fate somehow. I don't know what it is, but they're not losing like a traditional team would be losing. So I do have the Saints winning that division. I think I trust. I disagree with Mike. I think this quote unquote turmoil, actually, I don't think the players care that much about it. I think it'll galvanize them a little bit.
Unfortunately, that's what I was saying. I think I would hope that would happen, but it's not going to happen.
That's not.
Players, they don't care. They want to win, and they know Breeze is the best option they got.
Breeze is the best option they have. So, all right. So now one game, guys. If you have one game, and let's all right. The Bucs probably have the better top to bottom roster. Who would you want quarterbacking the Bucs roster? Or no, let's make an all-star team of the NFC South. All the best players. I don't know what we're going to have to break it down, but if you take all the best players, just imagine what that would be in your head. Who would you want quarterbacking that team to win the division, playoff game?
I'll say the guy who, based off the reason why you picked the Saints is the same reason why I would pick Tom Brady. He's been there before. So Thomas William Brady. I don't know if that's his middle name, but it is now.
At this, so you
it
think
sounds
Tom
so
Brady,
right.
Oh, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like it would be. So Tom Brady, right? I'm talking about right now, not in their primes. I'm talking about as
Doesn't
today.
matter. Yeah, I'd take him
July
right
20.
now for one game, leaving it out there. Yeah, Tom Brady.
Okay. How about you, Bert?
It's got to be Tom Brady. Yeah, I mean, he's been there before so many times, and I get it. He may be past his prime, so to speak. But I mean, shit. Let's be honest. The dude has played in 8 Super Bowls or 9 Super Bowls at this point. So I mean, if you look at his 20-year career, I mean, he's gone far into the playoffs. He's the type of leader you want in this position.
Ty, should I ask you? Do I have to ask you?
No. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead and tell me why it should be Breeze.
Because Drew Brees is a better thrower of the football. He plays the position of quarterback better than Tom Brady. Drew Brees is the only quarterback to have multiple seasons of 70% and above. He holds whatever quarterback record you want to name out there, he has it. So all those signs point to me that he is the better he has the better ability to play the quarterback position. So I don't care what you've done in your system that you've been relegated to your whole career. Drew Brees has played with lesser teams and he's put up better numbers. And, you can give me the ring talk, but everybody argues that football is the team sport. So I look at position by position. Drew Brees is a better quarterback in terms of playing the position of quarterback.
I think the better question would be for NFC South would be wide receiver. That would be the best question.
Oh, Mike Thomas. By a lot, too.
No, you're wrong.
Who?
No, I'm saying, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, Mark. There's a debate because there's other people.
I was going to go with Mike Evans, yeah.
Did you forget about Julio? Who else? Come on.
Yeah. What has Julio Jones? Big Julio Jones.
Nah, Julio's that dude, man.
Overrated.
Thank you.
No way.
Thank you, man.
No way.
Julio Jones.
No, it's hit or miss though on a fantasy aspect with Julio. Like sometimes I'm scared to play against him. Sometimes I'm like, thank God it was him of all the wide receivers. So
if you're scared to play Julio, you should just stop playing fantasy football. You play Julio every fucking week.
Play against him. Against him. Yeah, I'm talking about playing against him. He has had those games where you're like, okay.
Yeah, because he's on the Falcons. He can only catch the ball. He can't throw it to himself.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, but Mike Evans has, like, what Bert was saying, like, has kind of drove past that. So
he's not even the best receiver on his team, Mike Evans.
That's what I'm saying. Godwin is the beta. You got Godwin.
Michael Thomas. Breeze can just pick his favorite.
Michael
Thomas is amazing too.
Is bigger, stronger, and faster than Julio Jones. Why would I pick Julio Jones? Who has done? What is he? Big Julio Jones. What has he ever done? Tell me. Go ahead. Give it to me. What has Julio Jones ever done for the Atlanta Falcons. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
He
I'll
caught
wait.
a lot of. What do you mean? I put his stats up. I did not catch any balls, and no touchdowns, and no yards. What do you mean? You know the numbers. Like
put them in prime time. Like, let's be real. Like, Julio Jones has made some amazing catches, and
you guys have watched mediocrity for so long. This is why the Matt Ryan Hall of Fame debate, the Phillip Rivers Hall of Fame debate comes in. You guys have been watching mediocrity for so long.
What has Michael Thomas done? Nothing. So you're saying Michael Thomas?
What are you talking about? He just set a wide receiver record last year. What are you? Listen, Mike.
1 year he set a wide receiver record. Like, dude, Julio's been blowing stats up. Like, God.
Stat stuff for Julio Jones, not winning games for the Atlanta Falcons.
You just argued Drew Brees being consistently better stat-wise.
They've won 12 games.
Julio Jones. Where's Big Julio? We said Tom Brady, and you can't make the same argument. You're claiming Drew is better stat-wise overall, and Tom Brady has a fistful of rings. That's what Tom Brady has done.
How many times have the Saints won the division versus the Falcons win in the division? Go ahead, tell me. I'll tell you, a lot to a little. You know why? Because Michael Thomas and Drew Brees are out there balling, doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's winning. Not stuffing their stats, not painting their hair red, not sitting there smoking pot with Roddy White. Like, no, buddy, win some football games. Be better at your job so we can stop these. You guys get so infatuated with these Madden ratings. Julio Jones, hit Mike. Give it to me. Hit it.
Overrated.
Thank you. Get out of here. We're done with the NFC South. It's the Bucs and the Saints. We can flip the coin now to the toughest, most competitive division in the NFL, and that is the AFC East. Maybe not the most competitive, maybe not the toughest, but the most interesting division. There's a lot going on here. It's easy to laugh it off because it's been the AFC East. It's been the Pats and the backup singers for a long time. But when you look now at the landscape of the AFC East, there's a lot of interesting shit going on. You know, even from the Jets and the Dolphins. Like the Dolphins, I'm looking at the stuff they've done. You know, you can criticize the Tua pick all you want, but their draft has been pretty good. They've had a pretty good offseason. The Jets, I think they made some decent moves. They just didn't make the moves that they probably needed to make to be competitive. I do think the Jets, it's funny to say this out loud, I think the Jets have the most question at quarterback. Like, you know, I think this is it for Sam Darnold, more so than Josh Allen. Josh Allen probably has the most pressure, but I don't think there's a debate whether Josh Allen is the future of the Buffalo Bills. You know, everybody loves him. He's improved every year. Through 2017 when he was drafted, Josh Allen has the same amount of rushing touchdowns as Saquon Barkley. It's insane. That team is built now. So Josh Allen's probably the weak link of that team. We got Stephon Diggs now. Devin Singletary is poised to be a breakout running back. Everybody loves him. The kid is probably like he reminds me of LaShawn McCoy, to be honest, like a younger LaShawn McCoy. His pass catching ability. Zach Moss has been called a younger version of Frank Gore. We brought him in to kind of offset that flashy running ability to be our power back. Frank Gore was just too old. He ended up in New York on the Jets. We'll see, you know, to be paired with Le'Veon Bell. So you'll see if that works out for him in New York. New York's doomed. They're going to be the worst team in that division because they didn't fix their major issues. Sam Darnold, I don't know if he's good. I don't know about you guys. I can't tell if Sam Darnold's good or not. I know what they're telling me. I know what they're saying about him. But I haven't seen any evidence that he is the franchise quarterback of the New York Jets. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be tough, right? And it's tough to say because he missed – how many games did he miss last year because of mono? Because apparently he's hanging outside of high schools too much.
Like 4 games or something.
Licking water fountains.
Seriously. So I'm shocked that you have the Jets finishing below the Finns, to be honest with you, because, yeah, the Dolphins are making moves now to build for their future, but in this upcoming season, as much as I would like to see them somewhat successful because they've been on the bottom for so long, I just don't see them above the Jets. I think so the Fish are last, then the Jets, and then, you know, you really said it I mean, I know you're a Bills fan, but you really had all my arguments in talking about how the Bills should be at the top of their division, plain and simple. It's tough to say the Pats will be up there, even if you look at the addition of Cam Newton and what he could potentially bring. We still don't even know if he has the starting job yet over Stidham, you know? So it's one of those things where if you look at the Pats and the moves that they've made, everybody's basically left town since last year. And you look at the Bills and the moves that they made, they have everything it takes to take that division easily. And even with, like you were saying, you look at Josh Allen, and he may be the weakest link of that offense, and you may 100% be right, but at least now he has the weapons, especially like a Stephon Diggs, to show the world that he's got other resources. He can get it out there, and he can bring the Bills back up to the top. So I'm excited. I will say I'm excited to see probably this division over everyone else because it has been so heavily dominated by the Pats year over year. It's going to be nice to see once one piece of that Belichick-Brady dynasty is broken up and other people start to leave town, like what are they going to do? Are they going to continue to remain up top because Bill Belichick is the GOAT when it comes to coaches? Or is someone else in that division going to rise to the occasion?
I'm going to say this quick so my family probably won't hear it. It's the Bills, the Patriots.
I heard it, Mike. Don't worry about it. I
move
heard
on.
it.
Oh man, it's tough. I'm with Bird in the last two. It has to be the Finns. Has to be the worst team. I can't wait to watch Tua. I can't wait to see him. I wish them the best, but I'm rooting for Darnold, and I believe the Jets are the worst of those two, or the least worst of those two teams. I think Le'Veon still plays very well, and Frank Gore going there is going to help probably as well. But I like Darnold. He has flashes, and he still has a lot more to prove, obviously. But I think he can take another step, and hopefully he has his head on his shoulders. But I'm rooting for Darnold. And then the top two teams is tough, man. I mean, I definitely originally picked the Bills prior to Cam being signed, and now with Cam signed,
Don't do it.
Now with Cam signed, it's just little. I don't know.
Here's why the Bills should still be favored, and I'm gonna.
They have a better team. No, because they from top to bottom they do have a better team.
I have four, and I knew you were gonna do this,
especially for the defense. I know, and I have to do it to you. I have to do it. I have to. For the sake of the show, I got to.
That's why I outlined here in my show notes. I don't. My light's too bright now. I listed four. I said tie. Motherfucker. Let me write this down.
Yo.
4 reasons why the Bills are still favored and why they still should be favored over the Pats. The first reason is, like Bert said, we don't even know if he's going to be the starter. They were perfectly comfortable.
That's enough for me. If you're telling me Stidham is that great and you bring Cam in and he still beats him out, then that means Stidham really is that great. And that means that they probably are fine with him
not really, because Cam is not great.
All right, okay, Cam, fucking MVP. All right.
Oh, back in 20. Okay, let me explain to you how time works, Ty. And I thought you were a smart guy. 2015 happened 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, I can't do the same things athletically that I did 5 years ago. I can do today. Yes, I'm a bigger person. Yeah, I can lift more weight, but I can't chase my kid around. I run out of breath. You know why? Because I'm 5 years older than I was. And so time works forward, my friend. It doesn't work backward. 10 years of Cam Newton. Take a guess at how many winning seasons there were.
I'm rooting for Cam. I'm rooting for Cam. I believe I'm not answering your question. The original thing was the pick in the division. I'm picking the Patriots, and not only because of Cam, but also, he will be the starter. He will be the starter, but because of Belichick, and I think that he makes great teams. I mean, bad people. He puts bad people together and makes great teams consistently.
He does maximize the potential of his players. I will give you that.
He's definitely not going to this. He's not going to the season tanking. Like, he's not going to the season like, oh man, the Bills look so great. He's going to the season like, I'm trying to put the best team on the field, and I think he's trying his best to do that. And I'm not surprised they signed Cam. I said it in the beginning. I'm like, yo, they're not going into the season with Hoyer and Stidham. They're probably going to sign Cam. Yo, they're gonna or somebody like, and it was like, I was not surprised at all when they signed Cam, and he's going to be the starter, barring injury or barring something crazy. And I'm picking Belichick. I'm picking Belichick, and that's just, I'm sorry, I have to.
No, it's an easy thing to do. We've seen evidence that it's not about Tom Brady because we've seen Matt Castle come in, do well.
He wants
We've
to prove too. He wants to prove Brady's about to win the damn Super Bowl, man. Belichick
both of them.
Belichick
do.
ain't having that. Belichick wants to prove.
We've seen Jacoby Brissett, Matt Castle, Jimmy Garoppolo all come in and have and play well and have success. Injury concerns for Cam, you have to have them. That was one of the reasons I put down to combat you. I mean, that's who Cam has been. He's like, yeah, he won the MVP in 2015. And yeah, I mean, all signs point that was a fluke season because he's been hurt ever since. He hasn't had a season anywhere close to that ever since or before. The second reason I have, or the third reason, I'm sorry, the Bills just have a better, like you said, a better team. We have better offensive weapons. We have the defense, you could probably argue, but I just think top to bottom, our roster is constructed better. And the last reason and the most underrated, hey, Mike, hit that button for me.
Underrated.
Guess where Cam Newton, jog my memory, where did Cam Newton play football last? What team was that?
Oh, the
Overrated.
Carolina Panthers.
And Coach of the Year candidate, one of the hottest young coaches in the NFL, and one of the hottest, best GMs in the NFL, who now preside and are in charge of the Bills Mafia. Where were they last at? Can anybody take a guess? Huh? Don't worry. I'll give it to you. The Carolina Panthers. They watched and groomed Cam Newton for years. So we are best equipped to know that Cam Newton better watch his BP because we know how to stop him. We know how to play him. We have the defense to contain him. Cam Newton will be a non-factor for the Bills Mafia. Tremaine Edmonds, all right, Jerry Hughes, Anthony Milano. We're coming for those gully holes up there in New England. Don't even worry about it. It'll be easy as 1, 2, 3. The Bills will win the division, and we're going to win it by like 3 games. So I'm not worried about that. The reason, Bert, I have the Finns over the Jets is because the Finns just upgraded more defensively. The parts that they really have struggled with, Ryan Fitzpatrick was their leading rusher last year. They brought in Jordan Howard. They brought in Matthew Breida. Their rushing attack is going to be fine. The one thing I wrote here that they need help with is probably their secondary. But I think they're going to be focused on getting to the quarterback. Their linebackers are good. Their defensive line is good. I don't know who they're going to throw to. The Jets basically did a Cheddar Bob and shot themselves in the foot because they let go of Robbie Anderson. I don't know who's going to – and Quincy Enunwa, like what is the ghost of Quincy Enunwa going to float around there? I heard he's not even playing again this year because something happened. The season didn't even start yet. How are you out for the season and nothing even happened yet? The guy's a bum, okay? So I don't know who Sam Darnold, Mono Darnold's going to throw to. But I think that the Dolphins finished the season last year winning like 4 of their last 5 games. I know it's the end of the year. You can take that as you will. I like Brian Flores as a coach. I think he's moving that team in the right direction. Crazy Eyes Adam Gase is moving the Jets into the wrong direction. I will say that the AFC East does collectively have the toughest schedule in the league. The Dolphins, this is why it'll be hard for the Dolphins. Their first 9 games, 7 of those 9 teams they play were all playoff teams last year. So that'll be, I know it's bad. I should have. So maybe the Dolphins will finish last, but I don't think it'll be because they're a worse team. But yeah, the AFC East does have has the toughest schedule. The Bills' first half is pretty easy, but their second half is brutal. The Pats are the opposite. Their first half is brutal, and then their second half is pretty much a cakewalk. So it'll just be a matter of who's tougher on the road and who's going to win more division games for that division. But I think we're all in agreement. Whoever with that extra wild card spot, whoever doesn't win the division, that second place team is probably going to be a wild card. So the Pats and the Bills will probably both end up making the playoffs unless Cam Newton shows up. If Jarrett Stidham's the quarterback, then yeah, there's a shot. But if Cam Newton is the quarterback for the Pats, then the Pats probably won't be making anything other than fishing trips planned out. So that was it for my list, guys. I don't have anything else. Does anybody have anything that we missed or want to mention real fast?
No, tune in next week when we break down the next owner that's going to get canceled. Spoiler alert, it's Woody Johnson.
Is he? Oh no,
No,
Woody.
I don't know. I just feel like it's him because like his name's Woody. You had your boy up in Boston get the rub and tug. Now we have the guy.
Adam
in
Gase and Woody
Washington.
Johnson were definitely, and Eric Mangini, when he was coaching the Jets, was definitely pimping out Jets cheerleaders. I
I
believe
don't
it.
even want to say that. I said something's gonna happen, like he was spitting in the corn dogs or something. I don't know,
Dude, Mike, the
something.
way you said it, I thought something broke when we were talking
too.
because you were looking at your
no.
phone. I was like,
There
yo,
was a
like
ton
what?
of-
Can you please share?
We had a ton of people following us that were Jet fans, so I just figured I'd.
Oh yeah. Hey, Jets
okay.
Jets fans, pick a new team. You're not even the best. The best and only quarterback resides in Buffalo. Speaking of Buffalo, real fast. Hey, Blue Jays, ditch Canada. Canada always showing us while they're second rate. Get out of Toronto. They don't want you. Come to Buffalo. We'll happily take you.
They don't want to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
How do you feel
Poor
about
lighting.
Oh, well, fuck you, Blue Jays. Take your bum ass back up to Toronto. Don't play in the MLB season. Pieces of shit.
Oh,
Fuck
that's
that.
great. That's great.
Oh man! Now there
Hey,
was
guys.
one more thing though before we leave out of here.
Yeah.
Arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. That's
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt,
you all.
yeah. Love you.
Yeah. Wait. Turn it off.
Oh, screw it.
One more thing. Happy birthday to my guys, Bert and Corey. I'm about to drink a shot for my guys.
Underrated.
Thanks, guys.
Underrated. Properly weighted.
Hey, Bert and Corey. Yeah. Sport.